little different today. If you saw my food not waste video from last year, which I will link down below, you'll know that food waste is one of those soapboxes that I'm willing to get up on and talk for a while. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't ever waste food. It doesn't even necessarily mean that I'm good at it. So I'm going to use you guys to try and hold me a bit more accountable for the next 4 weeks. And we are going to measure the amount of food waste I produce over the next 4 weeks. So I thought that the best place to start would be to take a look in my refrigerator. I did clean out my fridge a little bit before this, so I'm starting with a pretty good clean slate. One thing that I do, and I know people, it's real big right now to have those plastic bins in your fridge for organization. Those don't work for me. But what I like to do is put cookie sheets in. That way I can pull the whole thing out, see what I've got front to back, and it just works for me. The bins don't work so well because I don't tend to buy like 15 of one item. I have 1 of 15 items. But like this cookie sheet, we've got some cooking fats here. There's bacon fat, there's pork fat, there's some pickles hiding in the back, some jellies. And having it on the cookie sheet lets me see everything I have pretty easily. But, so I've got some eggs and, well, some cat food. The door, I keep all my sauces and condiments. There's some iced tea in the jars. I don't know, fairly basic fridge stuff. There's some cranberries hiding in the back for a project I think I'm doing tomorrow. Do you guys want to see stuff like that? My basic everyday kitchen projects? But this is what I'm starting with. And I'll tell you, there's a few things in the fridge that I'm a little concerned about using up properly. That box of cream, and there's a little bit of hummus in there, and a cucumber that I'm kind of afraid are going to go bad before I get to them. But I've put a container in the fridge, and I'm going to put all my food waste for the week in that container. Maybe I'm being a little hopeful that it'll all fit in a Tupperware. But I'm going to hope. And when I see you next week, we're going to weigh it. We're going to take a look at what's in there, see where I might be able to do a little bit better, and see how much food waste I actually produced this week. And we're going to do that all month long. So I will see you next week. Hi. So I've been saving my food waste for a week now. Let's start by taking a look at what's in the fridge this week, and then we'll look in the containers that I saved and give them away. Okay, this next week's going to be a little bit harder because I went to the grocery store and bought a bunch of produce on clearance, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it all up before it goes bad. I'm also kind of worried about that milk there. I'm notorious about not using milk before it goes bad. But let's take a look in the bins that I saved my food waste in and give them away. The first thing I'm going to do is to weigh an empty container. Okay, that way I'll only have the weight of the food itself. I wasn't sure what actually to consider food waste. So what I ended up deciding to do was things that were definitely wasted food would go in one container, and things I wasn't sure really how to categorize, I'd put in another. This container is entirely banana peels from a project I did, and tea bags, and there's no coffee grounds in here, but there would be if I'd had coffee last week. So this container weighs, well, that's in pounds. Let's not do pounds. 1 pound, 5.9 ounces, which is 620 grams. I think we should stick to grams for this. So the food waste I'm not sure is food waste is 620 grams. This container is true food waste. Things that are edible that just went to waste. And this one is 857 grams. And this container has like some lettuce in it that didn't go good, the base of a cabbage, some onion skins. There's some asparagus ends and some apple cores in here. Normally I'd save the apple cores to make jelly, but these were apples. They started out as caramel apples, so they were actually eaten off of instead of sliced, so I couldn't really save the cores. Oh, and I forgot. This cucumber that I was concerned about did not make it. Didn't even get touched. I did get to that hummus though. So with the cucumber, the true food waste is 1,097 grams. Right now, what this is mostly telling me is I need a compost bin, because pretty much everything in here is fruit and vegetable detritus. I'm actually kind of surprised that there's not more, but knowing that I was going to be recording this, I was much more aware of making sure that I didn't waste things. So that's a good thing. I guess that's all I've got for this week. I will see you next week. Okay, we have reached the end of week 2. So time to see how much food waste I have created this week. We are going to do the same thing that we did last week, where we zero out the weight of an empty container. That over there. Now this first one is the one with things like banana peels and tea bags in it, things that really don't have any more food value left to them. And that weighs all of 209 grams. So on that count, I think I did pretty well this week. This is the one with true food waste. And this got away from me a little this week. There's some salad that went bad, and there's a potato down here I'm not real happy about, and then some squash that didn't get eaten one night at dinner. The rest of it is like onion peels, potato peelings, mostly onion peels. So again, what this really says to me is I need a compost bin. But this one weighs 580 grams. So I'm going to do the math after I filmed this, and I'll put it here. But that means I have created this much food waste in the last week, and this much food waste in the last 2 weeks combined. Let's take a look at my fridge. See what we have to be concerned about this week. Okay. This week. Well, I still have some cream hiding back there to deal with, but I saw a way that you can make sour cream at home. So I think I'm going to try that. And there is some more salad back there that I'm concerned about. But that's really my only 2 big worries this week. So hopefully I do pretty good. I will see you again next week when we measure some more food waste. Until then. Welcome to week 3. This was both my best and my worst week yet. It was my best week because these bins don't have much in them. And before like 2 days ago, they had like nothing in them. So we're going to start with the one that's sort of food waste. And that one comes to 265 grams, which brings the total for 3 weeks to something that I will do the math for later. And actual food waste is 628 grams. But I said this was my worst week ever, right? So there's got to be something else going on. Well, a few things got away from me. These 2 bags of vegetables got kind of nasty. I don't think I can get this all on here. We'll put the vegetables on top. Those 2 bags of vegetables got kind of nasty. This cream that I was going to make sour cream out of, well, I've read the best by date very, very wrong when I put it in my brain. So when I got it out to make sour cream, it was very rotten. And this squash that I had picked up, I don't know, 2 weeks ago on clearance, because I knew squash lasts forever, didn't really think about the fact that it was wrapped in plastic. It would have been just fine if I'd unwrapped it. And that's what kills me about this one. It would have been just fine if I'd unwrapped it. Okay, let's see if we can balance the vegetables on here. I know you can't see the number, but that is 2,252 grams, bringing our 3-week food waste total to... So let's take a look in the fridge and see what I need to try and pay attention to for next week. All right, I know somewhere in the top there is half a grapefruit, which I'll honestly probably eat after I'm done filming. There's also 2 pieces of leftover pizza sitting right here, so I need to make sure I eat those. And this half an onion, which should get used for dinner tomorrow. What's down here? There's a couple of strawberries there, over there, that I need to make sure I eat. That yogurt, but there's only 1 helping left in there, so I'm not too worried about that. So that is what I need to worry about for next week. I will see you next week, and we'll see how I do. So it's week 4, and time to see how much waste I've created this week. It's been another pretty good week. Get the scale turned on. We've got a different camera angle going today because I'm multitasking a little bit, if you see some other ingredients sitting around. Okay, go ahead and zero out the empty container. This is the tea bags and stuff that is sort of food waste. And here, all we've got, oh, somehow we're set on ounces, is 107 grams. I'm going to say that's pretty gosh darn good. And this one, there's something I want to add to this, so we're going to open it up. In here you can see we had chicken for dinner one night. There's some onions. I go through a lot of onions. There's a biscuit that didn't get eaten, but there's some ranch dressing that got away from me and expired, and I'm only willing to push dairy so far. Luckily it was only enough for 1, maybe 2 salads. Not too painful. We need to put the lid back on that since they're always weighed with the lid. And true food waste, we've got 357 grams. So that's pretty good this week. This might be the best I've done. But I am going to add all the numbers up from the last 4 weeks, and we will go back to our usual location for me to give you my final thoughts. See you in a minute. Alright, so I'm going to be honest with you. It's been several weeks since I finished weighing my food waste. But life happened, and I wasn't able to get in here to give you my final thoughts. So I think that I've already given you the final numbers for this, but it seems that my total food waste, everything included, was 6,068 grams, or 13.4 pounds. That kind of feels like a lot. And the one thing that doing this really taught me in the course of doing it was that I need a compost bin. I'm pretty sure I could cut that number in half if I simply had a compost bin. So that is definitely something I'm going to look into doing. The other thing that I've learned, and I don't know if I would have learned this if I filmed this right after I finished week 4, but being held accountable, and even though it's really only accountable by the camera and you guys, since I've stopped weighing my food waste, I've gotten a lot worse. Even just the next week, I had some green peppers and some salad that got away from me again, and Since then, I've really noticed that it's been worse than when I was filming everything. And I think I just really need to hold myself accountable for that. I need to make sure that every week I'm going into my fridge and I'm seeing what's there and I'm making a mental note of what I need to use so that those lemons don't get lost in the back of the fridge. Or, honestly, I'm really bad about salad greens. That one's a problem. But I think you understand what I mean. I need to make mental notes of what needs to be used quickly, what's going to go bad, what leftovers I have in there, and figure out how I'm going to use them, what I'm going to do with them, when they're going to get eaten. And I really need to get a compost bin. So I think all in all, this was good for me. And I don't know if I'm going to go back to or continue weighing my food waste. It probably is something that I should do to really hold myself accountable. And you know what? I'm open to suggestions. If you have anything you want to suggest to me, let me know down below. And I'll let you know my take on it, if I think it would work for me or not. I know a lot of things that work for other people won't work for me, and vice versa, because we're all individuals and that's just how things work. But this was really a fun experiment. I urge you to try the same, even if it's just for a week or two. And let me know about that down below. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you discover about yourself and your patterns. So if you enjoyed this at all, if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.